the words of my man Ric Flair, wow. Wow. I mean, look, man, who gives a damn about a bad prediction when you get to witness something like this? This is why I love boxing. And you know, I even broke my own rule of overlooking the underdog. This is what I'm saying, you guys. You never sleep on anybody. You always paint the picture, tell the narrative, give them their due, okay? Tell their story and make an argument to why they can win the fight, okay? That doesn't mean you gotta pick them, okay? It doesn't mean you gotta be delusional, but you should give them enough respect because it's a fight at the end of the day. Anything can happen in a fight, and you don't know if the stars line up perfectly for that fighter and if they fight the perfect fight, which Kambosos did. The stars lined up and he took advantage of it, and he was great. You know, probably the most decorated Australian boxer of all time, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, this is beautiful, man. This is why I love this damn sport. And shame on me for not telling more of Kambosos' story. I'm gonna try to make sure I don't gloss over these things, because you know, and this was the fight that I think this was like the fight of the year. Nobody expected an upset. I'm sure there was somebody who picked Kambosos. I'm sure there were some people, and even if they did, I don't know if that was just out of, you know, not liking Tio or anything like that. By the way, guys, check out this fight with Kambosos and Bella. I think Bella's Australian himself. Very interesting fighter. It was a great fight to watch. But anyways, you know, I don't think anybody expected this. Most people, I don't think we'd expected this. And boom, we got the biggest upset of the year. Okay, for me, I thought that fight may have been Canelo versus Plant, you know, but it was this one. It was this one. Some people thought it was going to be Shakur Stevenson and Jamel Herring. You know, they thought Jamel Herring would pull it off. You know, but this right here, you guys, this is amazing. And it's a great story. And I got to apologize to Kambosos and his trainer, because I didn't think his trainer was going to get the most out of him. But stylistically, what they did last night shocked me. Now, I didn't get to watch the full fight yet. I just heard about it. It sounds like Kambosos was on the back foot most of the night, which I did not expect. You know, a lot of people even labeled Kambosos a pressure fighter, which I didn't see. I didn't quite understand. And I think last night kind of verified that. But I sure as hell didn't expect Kambosos to fight off the back foot consistently. I thought he was going to be more of an aggressive counter puncher, you know, kind of stalking Teofimo around the ring, you know, looking for opportunities. And he went off the back foot. Just by going off the back foot, he changed. Now it makes sense to me. Now his style makes sense mechanically and stylistically. Okay, when he's going off the back foot, because he's fighting in that parallel stance, in that Philly shell guard. It doesn't make sense when you're pressing forward or stalking your opponent, but it makes a lot of sense when you're fighting off the back foot. I think this completely changes the way he is as a fighter, and I think it's great. I think he's going to match up well against a lot of tough competition moving forward. You know, and the way he utilizes jab, I did say, I made a lot of points to praise Kambosos, but I didn't quite make an argument for him in the fight breakdown to how he could win. And that's what where I'm disappointed in myself. I mean, let's think about this. He sparred like probably over 100 rounds with Manny Pacquiao. I even mentioned it. And it's like I gave it no credit or weight. Shame on me. Shame on all of us. We knew this, but we glossed over it. You get to spar over 100 rounds with one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world. How the hell did I not read into that? Okay, that's probably worth more than going in a 12-round fight with him. It's probably more valuable to spend training camps doing multiple rounds with Manny Pacquiao than doing an actual fight with him, when you really think about it. And I gotta tell you, a lot of people are saying that Tank Davis might be a matchup next, or Devin Haney, but let's focus on Tank Davis versus Kambosos. I think Kambosos has a 50-50 shot in that fight. I think I know a lot of people love Tank, but I don't think he matches up bad in that fight, you guys. I don't. Because if you can handle Manny Pacquiao, both are southpaws, right? Tank and Manny Pacquiao. And I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. Maybe Tank can be surpass, Manny Pacquiao one day. In terms of his resume and his skill. But he hasn't, okay? This guy Kambosos has fought or sparred with the best southpaw one of the best southpaws, just period, best boxer in the history of the sport. Manny Pacquiao, he's a southpaw. I'm sorry, he's faster than Tank Davis. He's stronger, he's smarter, higher ring IQ, better footwork, more I'm sorry, Manny Pacquiao is a whole of a hell of a lot better than Tank Davis. And if you're doing rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds with Manny Pacquiao, then you should be able to deal with a southpaw like Tank Davis. I'm not saying he's gonna win, but I think he has a fair shake. He's got a lot of experience against one of the greatest southpaws of all time. Okay? And his jab, I said it once again in the breakdown. I said he has a good jab. I just didn't think he was gonna use it. And he did. He was beautiful. I thought Teofimo was gonna be the one who was going to establish his jab and control the fight, and it was Kambosos. I knew he had a good jab, but I just didn't think he was going to utilize it. But just by fighting off the back foot, I think gave him more opportunity to kind of get the most out of his jab. And it was a thing of beauty. And his overhand right, that's one thing I didn't foresee. I knew his right uppercut was good, but his overhand right last night was a thing of beauty. And once again, just by fighting off the back foot, it probably opened up a lot of opportunities compared to other fights. So, I mean, Kambosos, wow, man. He fought the best fight of his life. And I did not foresee what he was going to do stylistically. I need to look up his trainer, and I need to give this man credit because that game plan was brilliant. I didn't think he had it in him. I didn't think his team had it in him to put a game plan like that together. And I didn't think Kambosos had it in him to alter his style like that. Not alter it, but, do something a little bit different than what he's usually doing. So, Kambosos, and like I said in the fight break, I feel like he has a lot of potential. I like him. He does a lot of things well. He had some mechanical flaws, but the footwork's pretty good. He has pretty good defense. He's got good speed. He's got good power. Well, he's definitely shown now he's got some good pop in his punch. He's got a high IQ. He's got a lot of good qualities. So I think he still can grow. But as Lomachenko said to Teofimo when Teofimo got all the jewels, he said, "Welcome to my club." And the same thing applies to Kambosos. Welcome to the club. Now, how are you going to handle this? Are you going to get content? Are you going to get fat and happy like Teofimo? Or are you going to get back to the drawing board? This is a huge opportunity for Kambosos. I think he can be very good. I think he has a lot of potential. But man, sometimes guys, especially in the age of social media and all this adulation and glory, guys get content real quick. They get their love on social media real quick off of one moment, and then they become content. So I hope that isn't the case for Kambosos. He can be a hell of a story moving forward in boxing. I mean, this could be a guy that, really has a Cinderella story. Yeah, but he's really going to have to buckle down because he's got Killer's Row. Look at all the guys calling him out. Shakur, Devin Haney. I'm sure Tank Davis was saying, Ryan Garcia, all these guys are chomping at the bit. Welcome to the club. So once again, like I said with Teo, it's going to be up to Kambosos, okay? If he's going to continue to have the motivation, the hunger, and the drive. Now for Teo, let's get into Teo, man. I am so disappointed in Teo. So disappointed. And I don't want to hear anybody making excuses for this guy. And I'm disappointed for the way he conducted himself after the fight. How you score that fight like 10-2 is beyond me. In terms of Teo, I don't know. Maybe I got to watch the fight. I don't know. But, dude, you lost. You lost straight up, bro. And you and your dad came in with the absolute wrong game plan. And once again, I wish I did not. I wish I made an argument for Kambosos if Teofimo, in terms of Teofimo getting emotional or going in there and fighting with the wrong game plan, which he did. My biggest concern for Teo in the fight breakdown was, is he going to become dependent or rely on his gifts, which is his athleticism, his power, and his explosion? I thought he might be able to get away with that, okay, for a few fights moving forward. But it caught up with him last night. That's how quick it happened. And I said it, you guys. That's one thing I did get right. I said you cannot rely on that stuff moving forward, especially going up in weight and facing better competition. And this guy, George Kambosos, as much as we all slept on him, he was a top-tiered fighter. And he was just good enough, okay, just good enough to get the job done, okay? You saw it with, I referenced this in the fight breakdown, Prince Nassim Hamed versus Barrera, okay? Prince Nassim Hamed relied on that athleticism, that power, that explosiveness. He fights a guy in Barrera, and even Kevin Kelly. You know, he beat Kevin Kelly. He barely skated out of there. Prince Nassim barely got out of that fight, man. He got exposed. And then he goes up against Barrera, and Barrera, you know, shuts him down. Same thing happened last night with Teo. He goes in there with the absolutely terrible game plan. You know, I thought he was going to take the similar approach, the way he was locked in for the Lomachenko fight, establish the jab, break your opponent down to the body, gain control of the fight, and then you can play with your food. And then you can use a little bit of that athleticism, you know, and play around with those different techniques. Get control of the fight first with your jab. I thought we turned a corner with Teo after, you know, we had questions after the Nakatani fight. And guess what? Those questions reared their ugly head against Kambosos. I thought we put it past him, okay, because what he did against Lomachenko. And don't take credit away from Teo for beating Lomachenko. Don't think Lomachenko is overrated, you guys. That was a hell of a win. I just think that Teofimo, I don't think it's that he lacks footwork. I don't think it's that he lacks ring IQ. It's that he relies on his athleticism too much, his power and his explosion. He relies on it too much. That's what he tried to do last night. He goes in there, he's trying to muscle punches. You know, he's not establishing his jab. He's trying to knock Kambosos out in the first round. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? This is professional, top-tiered boxing. You cannot do that shit anymore. That is done with. You have to fight strategically and tactically. You can do that against your first 10 opponents, okay? But you're not going to do that against a guy like Kambosos. You're not. And moving forward, you're not, okay? And I compared him to shades of Roy Jones. And even Roy Jones, as mythical as he was and the things he could do in that ring athletically, it caught up to him. So you didn't think, I mean, it's just common sense that eventually it would catch up to Teo. Now, I didn't think it would catch up this soon. I didn't. And he almost got himself out. I still give Teo a little credit, man. He was a dog. He fought hard. But it was just a stupid game plan. And he should really question how he moves forward with his father. I'm not saying he needs to abandon his father and kick him off the team, but maybe he needs to start working with somebody like Eddie Reynoso. Because his father, I don't know if it's true. I heard rumors he was intoxicated at the fight. And the game plan was just utterly stupid. Absolutely stupid. And then it's just like, oh, we're going to knock him out in the first round. Okay, what happens when that doesn't work? Oh, we're going to continue to try to knock him out. This fight should have been treated, he should have been locked in like he was for Vasily Lomachenko. He was on point for that fight. His footwork, his ring IQ, his jab, the way he broke down his opponent to the body, he was consistent. And he was able to change the momentum when Lomachenko will grab it back, and then he loses sight of that against Kambosos. He goes in there completely emotional. I did not think he would get that emotional. I was aware of it, but I thought he would fight a little bit smarter. That was so amateurish. I knew he was going to go for the knockout, but I didn't think he would be so reckless in doing so. I thought he would control the fight with his jab first, break Kambosos down, and then he would go for the kill or play around with his food. Instead, he goes in there first round. Dude, if you're not built like Mike Tyson in that peekaboo style, where you're designed to get people out immediately, you should not be going in there the first round in a 12-round fight, emptying your gas tank to try and get a knockout against a good opponent, even if you don't think he's that good. Stupid game plan. And I would like to see Teo work with somebody else other than his dad at this point. I know his dad got him here, but it seems like it's getting to that point to where he's gonna be, I think they're getting to a level of fighting to where he needs to consult with a really good trainer. And like I said, I would like to see him work with Eddie Reynoso, but probably not gonna see that. But Teo, he needs to get disciplined. It's not that he lacks ring IQ. It's not that his footwork is in there. It's that he relies on his athleticism too much, and it caught up to him quicker than I thought. So, yeah, Teo, I don't see him taking it. There's no rematch clause. I don't see him fighting Kambosos. I mean, maybe in the future, but he needs to move up in weight. He's been hanging around at that weight class for too long, and he needs to get his shit together, you know. And here's another thing, you guys. Here's another thing. This is why we cannot censor people in the boxing world. Okay, I know you guys have favorite fighters, whether it be Canelo, whether it be Deontay Wilder, or whoever the fuck it is, okay? But that doesn't mean they don't have some flaws. That doesn't mean that they can't get exposed. That doesn't mean they're unbeatable. You know, now I know Teofimo is no Canelo Alvarez. But still, Canelo can be beaten, you guys. Anybody can be beaten. Even Mayweather could have been beaten, okay? And if we censor and just say, oh, well, you're pointing out these flaws of a fighter, you're a hater or you're a racist, then we can't. And that's part of the reason I glossed over Kambosos. You know, because it's like, well, you know, if I say anything about Teofimo Lopez, you know, critical, it's just gonna be seen as hate. But I gotta stop with that. I gotta stop caring about this weird boxing community and how they want to censor everybody, because if anybody says anything bad about their fighter, they get all sensitive. There's a story to tell on both sides. And yes, most of the time, the top dog comes out on top, but you just never know, and you have to pay respects to these guys. You never know when you get a firefight. And there were some questions and concerns of Teofimo. Now, I gave Teofimo the benefit of the doubt. We all had questions after the Nakatani fight. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, you know, because a lot of people get mad when you start questioning their favorite fighter. And I said, okay, he beat Vasily Lomachenko. I'm not going to question his consistency. I'm not going to question, you know, whether he can fight strategically for 12 rounds consistently. He did it against Lomachenko. But to me, this was more mental. It wasn't so a lack of those abilities. It was more so just a lack of focus. And, you know, there was rumors. There was rumors he was out partying, having a good time, doing a little bit of hookah. I'm not saying that was the end-all, be-all to all this. I think, you know, it's just mentally he got too fat and happy. You know, like I said, in the age of this social media era, where, you know, it's so easy to get popular and famous and you get all the adulation after one big thing you do, you know, you tend to get content. And that's going to be the big question for Kambosos. You know, you had this big moment. Are you going to rest on it now? And hopefully not, because I think he has a lot to do. And look, this could be a good lesson for Teo. Canelo lost, but this can be very valuable for Teofimo Lopez. He can come back. He can be successful. I still think he can be a great fighter, and he can do a lot of great things in that ring. Sometimes you need to take an L. And we need to understand, as boxing fans, let's not scrap this guy because he took an L. He's still a great fighter. Let's not scrap him and throw him out. He's not garbage. I'm not going to say he got exposed. I just think there was a lack of mental focus for this fight. And honestly, if he gets a rematch, If he does do a rematch, I think he would have a decent chance. He would have to come in with a completely different game plan. I just couldn't believe he couldn't get his jab started. But he never got his jab started because he committed to knocking this dude out in the first round, and he got caught up in a shitstorm. He gets knocked down and he gets lost in translation, and now you're mentally fucked because you're trying to play catch up, and this dude Kambosos is calm and composed, and he's controlling the fight from there on out. And then he gets up when he gets knocked down, and I mean, it's just a hell of a performance. But that's why you can't, and fans, this is what you understand. This is why you just don't go in there and start winging punches. At this level, that doesn't work. You cannot force a knockdown, okay? Especially at the creme de la creme, the elite of the elite, the best of the best. You can't be forcing knockdowns. You have to let that shit come. The times I get knockdowns, it's so effortless. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not forcing it. It just happens. You know, I just land a punch and it's like, oh shit, knock him down. You can't be forcing knockdowns. It's one thing to do that against 10 tomato cans in the first part of your career, okay? But you cannot do that against elite boxers. You have to work behind your jab, which he never really got established. And it's just a thing of beauty seeing the way Kambosos did his thing off the back foot. I did not see that coming, but this is why I love this sport. Tell me what you guys think. What fight do you want to see Kambosos do next? Do you want to see a rematch? Do you want to see Tank Davis? Do you want to see Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia? I mean, there's so much possibilities. You know, what do you think happens to Teofimo next? Do you think he can recover from this loss? You know, did any of you predict Kambosos winning? If you did, let me know, because I want to applaud you. Cheers. Fucking awesome prediction. But I stand corrected, you guys. And I'm a little bit ashamed that I didn't do a little bit more homework. Not so much not do my homework, but paint a picture for Kambosos being the underdog and how he could win. And I knew that Teo could come into this fight, you know, being a little bit too emotional and with the wrong game plan, but I did not make an argument for Kambosos if that was going to be the scenario to play out. And I will not do that moving forward. No matter what, I'm going to paint the picture for the underdog to tell their story, because this is boxing. You never know what can happen. Any given time, an underdog can pull it out. Okay, so it's your boy Havoc, final round. I love this sport. It's great. We still got to finish out this year. We got a few more fights to check out. And boxing is back. It's alive. It's good. And I'm so excited. So get at me, y'all.